Tom stood near the open gate of the shuttle, his toolbox in hand. The space station ahead floated like a silver ring in the dark sky. Its outer walls were dented and scorched from recent battles. But this was not a human war. It belonged to the Zolari people, tall and proud warriors from a nearby star system. Tom was not a soldier. He was an engineer. He fixed things: broken walls, damaged panels, burned out lights, and sometimes alien machines that made no sense. The Human Alliance had sent him to this station as part of a peace mission. After many years of silence and fear, the Zolari finally allowed a few humans to help repair their damaged outposts. As Tom stepped inside the station, the air felt heavier. The light was dim and cold blue. The walls were made of a strange silver metal that hummed quietly. Zolari soldiers walked past him with serious faces. Their armor was sleek and tall, like they were built for battle, not peace. A Zolari officer guided Tom down a narrow hall. "This way, human," he said in a deep voice. "You will work with Rena. She needs her armor fixed. Do not touch anything else." Tom gave a short nod. Understood. They reached a small room with a metal bench, glowing screens, and tool racks. Sitting in the corner was Rena. She stood as they entered. She was tall, almost a head above Tom. Her armor was silver with black edges, scratched and cracked in many places. The chest plate had a large dent and a thin line where the metal had split. Her green eyes studied Tom with sharp focus. Her face was calm, but her eyes showed doubt. "This is the human?" she asked. The officer gave a simple nod. "He is the one. His skill with machines is strong." Rena crossed her arms. "I don't need help from someone who has never worn armor like this." Tom placed his toolbox on the bench and looked at her. "I won't break it. I only fix what's broken." For a moment, no one spoke. Then Rena let out a slow breath and stepped forward. She placed her hand on the cracked part of her chest armor. "You may fix this part," she said. "But be careful, human. This armor is more than just metal." Tom nodded. "I understand." The officer left them alone. Tom opened his toolbox and pulled out a scanner. He slowly walked around Rena, scanning the chest plate. "The damage goes deep," he said. "It looks like it took a strong blast. I'll have to lift this panel to see the circuits inside." Rena stayed still. "Do what you must." "But I'm watching." Tom kneeled and gently touched the edge of the armor. It was warm from her body heat. The metal felt different than anything he had worked on before, light, yet strong. He used a special tool to unlock the edge of the plate. With care, he pulled the panel slightly open inside. There were thin energy wires and small glowing chips. One of the chips had a burn mark. Another wire was half cut. "This one almost shorted out," he said. Pointing to the chip, Rena looked down without moving her head. "Can you fix it?" "Yes. I have something that can work. It's not Zolari tech, but it will hold." Tom cleaned the area and began his work. As he repaired the wires, he kept speaking softly, more to break the silence than anything else. "You know, I've never seen armor like this. Human suits are bulkier, less smart." Rena tilted her head slightly. "We fight with speed, not with weight." Tom smiled a little. "Makes sense." He worked for the next hour in silence. Rena stood still, only watching his hands. Slowly, the strange feeling between them began to fade. She still looked serious, but her eyes were no longer cold. She seemed curious now. "Why did you come here?" she asked. "Because I was told to fix things," Tom answered. "And also because I wanted to see something new. I've spent years fixing human ships. I wanted to know more about your world." "You are brave," she said. Tom looked up at her. "Brave? Many of your people still fear us." Tom thought for a second, then said, "Fear comes from not knowing someone. Talking helps. Working together helps more." Rena gave a small nod. After some more quiet work, Tom finally stepped back and closed the armor plate. He sealed the panel. With a soft click, "Try moving your arm," he said. Rena lifted her arm, twisted her shoulder, and touched her chest. The armor moved smoothly. Her eyes brightened a little. "It feels better," she said. "Lighter. Stronger." Tom smiled. "That's what I hoped." She looked at him for a long moment. You're not like the humans we hear about, and you're not like the aliens we were warned about, Tom said. Rena gave a small sound that might have been a laugh. Just then, a loud hum came through the walls. The lights blinked. A voice echoed through the speaker above them. Power shift detected. All personnel, return to secure zones. Tom looked up. Is that normal? Rena stepped to the door and tapped a small screen. Her face grew serious. It is not normal. Something is wrong. Tom grabbed his toolbox. Should I leave? No. Stay close. If the power goes out again, I may need you. Tom nodded. He followed her into the hallway as the lights dimmed. The peace mission was just starting, but something deeper was hiding in the walls of the station, and Tom knew this job would be more than just fixing armor. The hallway lights continued to flicker. A low hum filled the air as Tom followed Rena through the long corridors of the Zolari station. Even though the power alert had ended, the feeling of tension stayed in the walls. The station felt more like a sleeping giant, ready to wake at the wrong moment. Do these power shifts happen often? Tom asked as he walked behind Rena. Not like this, she replied without looking back. Something is wrong with the core systems. The engineers said it was stable, but I don't believe that anymore. They turned into another hallway where a few Zolari guards stood near a closed panel. One of them glanced at Rena and stepped aside. Clearly, she was respected here. Rena pointed to a side room. You can work from here. I will check the command deck. Tom stepped inside and looked around. The room had repair tables, old tools, and a few half-damaged machines lined up against the walls. He set down his toolbox and started organizing. His tools, even though he came to help, he was still a stranger here. He had to prove his value. Not long after, Rena returned. She looked more focused than before. They say the problem is minor, she said, but no one knows the cause. Tom stood up. I can check the backup power routes if you want. Maybe something is burning out behind the main circuits. Rena nodded slowly. Do that. But I will stay with you. I don't trust the system right now. Tom smiled a little. Glad to have someone watching my back. Rena didn't smile, but there was a lighter look in her eyes now. Tom pulled out a data pad and connected it to the wall panel. Strange symbols lit up. The Zolari language was hard to read, but he had studied the basics. It took him a few minutes, but soon he located the problem: an energy loop in one of the core wires. Too much power was being sent in a small loop. It wasn't dangerous yet, but if it kept going, it could cause another blackout. Found something, Tom said. It's small, but it's building up heat. I'll redirect it. Rena stood beside him and watched as he worked. Her armor clicked gently when she moved, the same armor he had repaired earlier. You're quick with this, she said. Faster than some of our techs. I like puzzles, Tom answered while fixing the code lines. Machines tell the truth. They don't lie or hide what they need. Rena crossed her arms. People lie. Machines don't. Tom paused and looked at her. You've seen a lot of lies, haven't you? She looked away for a moment. Yes. Tom didn't press her further. He knew when to stop talking. Once the repair was done, the screen showed a soft green light. It's fixed. That should balance the power. Rena looked at the screen and then at him. Good. Maybe now the station will stop shaking. Suddenly, the room lights flickered again. A deep thump echoed through the floor. The walls vibrated slightly. Rena drew a sharp breath. That wasn't from the power core. Tom stood up quickly. What was it then? She tapped the small device on her arm. A voice answered in her language. She replied fast, and her expression became serious. We may have trouble, she said. A small ship tried to dock without clearance. It turned away before we could scan it fully. Tom blinked. A spy, maybe, or someone testing our defense system. Either way, it's not normal. Before either of them could say more, an alarm buzzed in the hallway. The doors locked automatically. A red light flashed above. Tom turned to her. What now? We go to the core chamber, Rena said. That's where the main controls are. If someone tries to shut us down, that's where they'll start. Tom followed her out of the room. They moved quickly through the station, passing more Zolari guards. Some looked nervous, others calm. Tom noticed how Rena kept her hand near the side of her armor, where a small tool or weapon might be hidden. She moved with purpose, like a trained fighter, but never rushed. They reached the core chamber, large, round, and glowing with a deep blue light. In the center, a crystal-like machine pulsed with energy. It was the power heart of the station. One Zolari technician looked up from the console. "The power loop again," he said. "But now it's spreading to the outer rings." Tom stepped forward. "Let me see." The technician looked unsure, but moved aside. Rena gave a small nod of approval. Tom scanned the data. A second loop had started, just like the first one. But this one was deeper and harder to stop. Whoever had sent it knew the system well. "This isn't a mistake," Tom said quietly. "Someone is doing this on purpose." Rena's eyes narrowed. "Someone inside? Could be. Or someone planted it before leaving." Rena turned to the technician. "Start a sweep. Check all systems. All doors must stay locked until we know who's behind this." Tom kept working at the console. He had to stop the second loop before it reached the energy regulator. If that failed, the station would go dark. While he typed, Rena stood guard beside him for a few minutes. The only sound was the soft hum of the core. Then, without warning, a spark shot out from the console. The screen blinked red. Tom didn't move. "It's trying to block me." Rena stepped in closer. "Keep going. I'll cover you." Tom focused harder. He used his own tools to override the firewall. His fingers moved quickly, adjusting the settings, cutting the loop one section at a time. Finally, the screen turned green again. The loop broke. Tom stepped back and wiped his forehead. "It's done." "That should hold for now." Rena looked at him, her voice calm but firm. "You just saved the station." Tom gave a tired smile. "I only fixed a loop." "No," she said. "You stopped something greater." She looked down at her chest armor, the part Tom had repaired earlier. She tapped it once and looked at him again. "You're different from other humans," she said. Tom looked surprised. "Because I fixed things?" "No, because you care when you fix them for the first time." Rena gave him a small, honest smile, and Tom knew this mission was just getting started. Tom sat on a small bench outside the core chamber, staring at his hands. They were shaking slightly. He had worked under pressure before, but never like this. The station had almost lost power, and it wasn't because of a broken part. Someone had tried to shut the whole place down. Rena stood nearby, speaking in her language with the station commander. Her voice was steady, but her eyes kept glancing toward Tom. She had seen him stop the second power loop with quick thinking and calm focus. He had earned more than her respect. He had earned her trust. The commander nodded and walked away. Rena stepped closer to Tom. "You should rest," she said. Tom looked up at her. "Is the danger over?" "No, it's only quiet now. The real threat may still be hiding somewhere." Tom stood. "Then I don't want to rest. I want to help." Rena looked at him for a moment, then gave a short nod. "Good." They walked down the long hallway together. The station lights were brighter now, but there was still tension in the air. Solari guards moved in pairs, scanning doors, watching corners. Something had changed. Trust was shaking inside the station. Tom followed Rena to the main systems lab. Inside, there were large screens, tool benches, and data pads. Two other Solari engineers stood working on a broken power cell. Rena waved toward them. "They are checking for more hidden signals. We think someone used a special code to start the power loops." Tom walked to one of the screens. "You think they used the armor systems to get in?" Rena raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Tom turned toward her. "When I fixed your armor, I saw something strange inside an extra circuit that didn't belong. I thought it was a backup system, but now I'm not sure." Rena took a slow breath. "Show me." They left the lab and returned to the small repair room, where he had worked on her armor the first time. Tom pulled out his tools again. Rena stood still, letting him unlock the chest plate once more. As he opened the panel, Tom carefully moved aside the power wires and looked deeper into the system. There it was again, a small crystal-like piece, almost hidden under the main energy line. Rena stared at it. That's not part of our design. Tom touched it gently with a probe. A soft green light blinked. It's sending something. He said, maybe data, maybe signals. Rena's face turned serious. Remove it. Tom nodded and began working. It took steady hands and sharp tools. He cut the energy line, lifted the device, and placed it inside a sealed box. This was hidden deep. Tom said, if I wasn't fixing your armor, I would have missed it. Rena stepped back and crossed her arms. You weren't just repairing armor. You found the truth. They returned to the systems lab and gave the hidden piece to the engineers. One of them scanned it and looked up quickly. This device connects to a signal outside the station. The engineer said, a small ship passed us 1 hour ago. This may have been linked to it. Rena spoke to the commander again through the communication line. When the call ended, she turned to Tom. They are calling it sabotage, she said. Whoever planted that device wanted to control my armor or watch through it. Tom frowned. They could have used it to track you. Yes, or worse. For a moment, the room was quiet. Then Rena looked at Tom again. You saved me, she said. If I had gone into battle wearing this, I would not have known someone was watching me. Tom didn't know what to say. He had only followed the wires. But now he realized how much more was at risk. Rena continued. We have to find out who did this. And why. Tom nodded. I want to help. Rena looked thoughtful. The device was not Zalari, and it was not fully human either. It may have come from another group. Tom blinked. You mean another alien species? Yes, one that doesn't want peace between humans and Zalari. The next few hours passed in steady work. Tom and the engineers scanned other armors. Two more had similar hidden pieces. That meant more soldiers had unknowingly carried trackers. The attackers had planned this well. As they worked, Tom and Rena spoke more. She told him about her time in training, how she had always followed orders, how she never thought much about humans before. Now, everything felt different. You are not like the stories, she said. Tom gave a small smile. You're not like the stories either. When the scans were complete, the engineers locked the hidden devices in a sealed case. They would study them later and try to trace the origin. For now, the important thing was safety. As the station entered rest mode, the lights dimmed to a soft blue. Rena walked with Tom to the living quarters. She pointed to a guest room. You can rest here, she said. The commander thanks you, and I do too. Tom stood at the door. You don't need rest. I will stay near the core tonight. Tom gave her a tired nod. Be careful. Rena paused, then touched the repaired part of her armor. That's my line, human. Tom smiled as she turned and walked away. Inside his room, Tom sat on the bed. He looked at his hands again. They were still now. He had come to this station to fix machines. But now, he was part of something bigger. Someone out there didn't want peace. Someone was watching. But thanks to one small repair, the truth had started to come out, and Tom knew this was only the beginning. The station lights dimmed as night cycle began. Most systems went into low-power mode. Hallways that were once busy now stood quiet, lit only by soft blue lights along the floor. Even the air felt still. Tom lay on the small bed in his guest room, staring at the ceiling. His thoughts were full. The memory of the hidden device and Rena's armor stayed in his mind. Whoever placed it had done it with care and purpose. And that meant someone out there was watching closely, maybe waiting for the right moment to strike again. He couldn't sleep. After a few minutes, he stood up and put on his light jacket. The room door slid open with a soft sound. The hallway outside was empty. Tom walked slowly, his footsteps quiet on the smooth metal floor. He didn't know where he was going, maybe just to clear his head. As he turned the corner, he saw a familiar figure sitting alone in the side hallway. It was Rena. She was sitting on the floor, her back against the wall, her helmet resting beside her. Her eyes were open, watching the darkness ahead. Tom stopped. I thought you were staying near the core. Rena looked up. Her voice was calm. I changed my mind. The station is locked down for the night. No one can reach the core now. Tom stepped closer. Mind if I sit? She nodded once. Tom sat down beside her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The only sound was the low hum of the power lines running through the walls. Rena finally spoke. "When I first saw you, I thought you were weak." Tom smiled a little. "I thought you didn't like me." "I didn't," she said. "Not because of who you are, but because of what I was told." Tom looked at her. "You mean the old stories?" Rena nodded. "We were told humans only cared about their own gain, that they came to take, not to build. But then you came to repair armor not with force, but with care, and you found what no one else saw." Tom rested his head back against the wall. "I didn't come here to prove anything. I just wanted to be useful. You were more than that." Rena said, "You saved lives." They sat in silence again. The air felt a little warmer now. Suddenly, a soft sound came from down the hallway. Light beep. Rena stood up quickly, grabbing her helmet. "That sound is not part of night mode," she said. Tom got to his feet. "Should we check it?" "Yes. Stay close." They moved through the hallway with caution. The sound had come from the south wing, near the unused supply rooms. Rena tapped her wrist and pulled up a small screen. "No one is scheduled to be in this section." She whispered. They reached the door of one of the storage rooms. It was open just a little. Rena drew a small device from her belt. It looked like a scanner, but shaped like a disc. She tossed it inside. The disc floated in the air. Scanned the room silently, then returned to her hand. Movement detected inside. She said. Tom whispered, "Maybe another guard. No ID found." Without waiting, Rena opened the door fully and stepped inside. Tom followed her, keeping low. The room was dark, filled with stacked metal boxes and old equipment. In the corner, something moved. Rena aimed a small light in that direction. A tall figure stood near a wall panel, working quickly with a data pad. The figure turned, and it wasn't Larry. It wasn't human either. Its skin was pale gray, its eyes dark and round. It wore a smooth suit, almost like armor, but silent. When the light hit it, it froze for 1 second, then ran. "Stop!" Rena shouted and chased after it. Tom followed, his heart pounding. The figure slipped through another door, running toward the back corridors. Rena moved fast, but the figure was quick and seemed to know the station layout. Tom took a side path, trying to cut it off. He reached another hallway and spotted the figure heading toward the outer airlock. "He's going to escape," Tom shouted. Rena arrived just behind him. She pressed her wrist screen and locked the outer door. The figure turned back, now trapped between them. It hissed something in a language neither of them understood. Rena stepped forward. "Who are you? Why are you here?" The figure reached into its suit and pulled out a small device. It began blinking red. Tom shouted, "He's trying to destroy it," without thinking. Rena ran forward and grabbed the figure's arm. A short struggle followed. The device dropped to the ground and broke into pieces. The figure tried to escape again, but Rena struck him with a firm hit to the side. The figure fell unconscious. Rena breathed heavily. "Help me secure him." Together, they dragged the strange being to the side room and locked the door. Rena called the station guards. Within minutes, Dizlari officers arrived and took the intruder away. Tom sat down on the floor, trying to catch his breath. "What was that?" Rena sat beside him. "A spy. Maybe one of the group behind the hidden devices. We don't know his kind, but the commander will study him." Tom shook his head. "So it's true. Someone doesn't want this station to survive." Rena nodded. "Yes, but now we have proof." She looked at Tom, her voice softer. "You helped again, without fear." Tom gave a tired smile. "I was afraid. I just didn't stop." Rena looked at him closely, her eyes not as hard as before. "That is what makes you different." Tom stood slowly. "Should we return to the core?" "No," Rena said. "Tonight, we stay here together. We have already seen enough darkness." They sat together again in the quiet hallway, side by side. This time, they did not speak. They didn't need to. The morning light came through the station's small windows. The hum of machines filled the air again. The station was no longer quiet or dark. Everyone was busy, moving quickly with a new purpose. Tom sat with Rena in the system lab. The captured spy was locked in a secure room nearby. The commanders had ordered an immediate search for more hidden devices. Everyone knew that the danger was still near. Tom looked at the strange device he had found inside Rena's armor. It was small and smooth, with unknown symbols glowing faintly on its surface. The engineers had spent the night studying it but had not yet found how it worked. Rena watched Tom with quiet interest. "You want to know more?" Tom nodded. "Yes, this device is not just a tracker. It is sending a code." Rena frowned. "A code? For what?" Tom tapped his data pad. "I found strange patterns in the signals. They repeat over and over. It looks like a message." Rena leaned closer. "Can you read it?" Tom shook his head. "Not yet, but maybe we can decode it." Rena paused, then said, "I know someone who might help. A scholar from my home world. He studies old languages and codes. If he can see this device, he may find the meaning." Tom stood. "Then we should find him." Rena smiled faintly. "He is not easy to find. He lives far from here, in the city of Eldrin, beyond the desert plains." Tom looked at the maps on the wall. "How long would it take to get there?" "A few days by shuttle," Rena answered. "We can leave as soon as the commanders approve." Tom's heart beat faster. This was no longer just a repair mission. It was becoming a journey into the unknown. The commanders agreed. The station prepared a small shuttle for Tom and Rena. They packed supplies and left the rest of the team behind. The sky outside was clear, and the stars shone brightly as the shuttle lifted off. During the flight, Tom and Rena talked more about their worlds. Rena told him about her childhood in the desert city, the sandstorms, the tall buildings made of shining stone, and the old libraries filled with scrolls and crystals. Tom shared stories about Earth, its blue oceans, green forests, and crowded cities full of humans. They found it easy to listen to each other. Their differences felt smaller when they talked like this. After hours, the shuttle landed near Eldrin. The city was alive with noise and light. Tall towers reached the sky, and people of many kinds moved through the streets. Rena led Tom through narrow alleys to a small building with carved doors. Inside, the air smelled of old paper and incense. An old man with white hair and deep eyes greeted them. "You come for the code," he said softly. Rena nodded. "We found this device in my armor. It sends a secret message. We need your help." The old man took the device and held it carefully. He pressed a few buttons on his ancient machine, and a stream of symbols appeared on the screen. He studied them for a long time. Then his eyes widened. "This is not a simple code," he said. "It is a warning." Tom looked surprised. "A warning?" The old man nodded. "Yes. The message tells of a plan to control the Zoleri people through their armor. Someone wants to use their own technology to turn them against each other." Rena's face grew serious. "That is why the hidden devices were planted, and why the power loops happened," Tom added. The old man looked at them both. "This message is old but active. Someone keeps sending updates. The plan is not finished." Rena stood. "We must stop it." Tom felt a strong sense of purpose. "How do we find the source?" The old man pointed to a map. "There's a place far from here, in the mountains, a hidden base where this code is made and sent." Rena looked at the map and then back at Tom. "We will go there." Tom nodded. Together, the old man smiled. "You are brave, but be careful. This enemy is clever." They prepared for the journey. Supplies were packed, and the shuttle refueled. The trip would be dangerous, but Tom and Rena felt ready. As the shuttle left Eldrin behind, Tom looked at Rena. "I never thought fixing armor would lead to this." She smiled softly. "Sometimes small repairs change everything." And with that hope, they flew toward the mountains and the secrets waiting there. The shuttle flew through the cold mountain air. Outside the window, rocky peaks stretched as far as the eye could see. The wind howled softly against the hull. But inside the cabin, Tom and Rena stayed focused on their mission. The hidden base was somewhere ahead, built into the mountain itself. The old scholar had told them it was well protected by ancient technology and guarded by mercenaries. They would need to be careful. Rena checked the controls and adjusted their course. "We should land near the east ridge," she said. The sensors show fewer guards there. Tom nodded and helped prepare the equipment. They carried tools to scan signals, repair circuits, and even small weapons in case of danger. Neither of them liked violence, but they knew it might be necessary. As the shuttle touched down quietly among large rocks, the air smelled cold and sharp. They stepped out carefully, their boots crunching on loose stones. The base was hidden behind a thick wall of metal and stone. A small entrance was barely visible. With strange runes glowing faintly on the door, Rena pulled a small device from her belt. This should help us get inside. She pressed the device against the door. The runes blinked and faded. The heavy door slid open slowly. Inside, the air was damp and dark. Pipes and wires ran along the walls. The soft hum of machines echoed through the tunnels. Tom switched on his flashlight. Stay close, he whispered. They moved through the narrow halls. Strange symbols and signs covered the walls. Signs of old magic or technology mixed with each other. The deeper they went, the more the air felt heavy, as if the place watched them. Suddenly, their scanners beeped loudly. The hidden signal was strong here. Follow me, Tom said. They moved faster toward the source. The tunnel opened into a large room filled with consoles, glowing screens, and rows of strange devices. In the center was a large machine, pulsing with blue energy. Rena studied the machine. This must be the source of the hidden signals. Tom stepped forward, examining the machine carefully. It is sending coded messages through many channels. If we don't stop it, more armors will be infected. Rena touched the machine's surface. We need to shut it down. Tom nodded. I will try to break the code. You cover me. As Tom began working on the machine, he noticed many layers of protection. The code was complex, almost alive, trying to fight back every time he made a change. Rena stood near the entrance, her eyes sharp. She held a small energy pistol, but hoped she would not need to use it. Minutes passed. Tom's fingers moved quickly over the controls, breaking through one layer after another. Suddenly, the room's alarms blared. The door behind them opened with a loud hiss. A group of guards entered, weapons ready. Rena raised her pistol and aimed carefully. We must spy. Time for Tom, she said quietly. The guards moved forward. Rena held her ground, firing warning shots that hit the walls close to them. Tom worked faster, sweat running down his face. The code tried to rebuild, but he forced it apart again and again. Finally, a loud beep signaled success. The machines pulse slowed and stopped. Tom raised his hands. It's done. The signal is broken. Rena lowered her pistol but stayed alert. The guards hesitated and then stepped back, lowering their weapons. A silence fell. One guard spoke in a rough voice. You have stopped the network, but we will return. Rena looked at him calmly. Maybe, but we will be ready. Tom and Rena moved quickly toward the exit before more guards could arrive. The door closed behind them with a heavy clang. Outside, the cold air felt fresh and clean. The mountain sky was clear, the stars shining bright. Tom looked at Rena and smiled. We did it. She nodded. Yes, but this is only one battle. The war for peace will continue. Tom touched the repaired part of her chest armor gently. I'm glad I could help. Rena looked at him and said softly, Be careful, human. Tom smiled back. Always. They climbed back into the shuttle and prepared for the trip home. The hidden signal was broken, but the connection between them had grown stronger. Together, they would face whatever came next. The shuttle flew back toward the space station, carrying Tom and Rena through the quiet stars. The mission was done, but both of them knew this was only the start of something new. Rena sat beside Tom, her chest armor repaired and safe. She touched the smooth metal with a thoughtful look. You saved me more times than I can count, human. Tom smiled, feeling a warmth he had not expected. I only fixed what I could. Rena turned to him with a small smile. You fixed more than armor. You fixed trust. The station grew larger in the window, its silver walls shining under the light of a nearby sun. The peace mission had succeeded, but the road ahead was long. When they landed, the station's leaders welcomed them with open arms. The commanders praised Tom for his skill and bravery, and Rena for her strength and wisdom. Later, in the quiet of the repair room, Tom worked on a new project, a small device designed to protect the armor from any future attacks. Rena watched, standing nearby with a calm expression. "You think humans and Zelari can work together?" Tom said, not looking up from his work. Rena nodded. "We must. Our worlds are linked now. Our fates depend on it." Tom finished the device and held it up. "This will help. It will stop anyone from hiding inside armor again." Rena reached out and gently touched the device. "Then it will protect me and my people." They smiled at each other, a silent promise passing between them. Days passed. The station grew stronger, the bonds between humans and Zelari deeper. Tom and Rena often met to share ideas and stories. Their friendship was simple but real. One afternoon, Rena approached Tom as he worked. "There's a choice to make," she said. Tom looked up. "What choice?" Rena smiled softly. "The commanders offered me a position to stay here and train with humans, to learn and to teach." Tom's eyes brightened. "Will you stay?" Rena paused. "Yes, because you are here. Because together, we can build something better." Tom stood and extended his hand. "Welcome to the team." She took his hand firmly. "Thank you, human." Their future was uncertain, but filled with hope. The station was no longer just a place of war and fear. It was a place of friendship and new beginnings. As the stars shone outside, Tom looked at Rena's armor, now stronger than ever. The small crack was gone, replaced by a symbol of trust and unity. Rena smiled. "You fixed more than armor, human." Tom laughed quietly. "Maybe we both did." And in that moment, two worlds began to come together.